Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the August 25th Lebanon Board of Works meeting. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, move on to roll call members. Apologies. Madam Clerk, we call roll, please.
Mayor Gentry.
Here.
Becky McClure. Bill Stoner.
Present.
Dick Robertson.
Here.
Alan Milburn.
Present.
Okay, and on to the minutes. We have the minutes. So minutes would be from our July 28th meeting. Any changes or edits to those minutes? Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes for July 28th.
Motion approved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Judge McClure. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And those are approved. All right, on to department head reports. First will be Police Department, Chief Morgan.
Good evening, board members. Since our last meeting, the Lebanon Police Department has responded to 927 calls for service. A total of 29 people were arrested for the following crimes: 9 for OWI, 6 were wanted on a warrant, 2 for operating without ever receiving a license, 2 for theft, 2 for possession of meth, 1 for possession of a controlled substance, 1 for dealing marijuana, 1 for dealing meth, 1 for possession of paraphernalia, 1 for resisting law enforcement, 1 for reckless driving, 1 for criminal trespassing, and 1 for sexual misconduct with a minor. For training, in that same time frame, LPD took 17 crash reports, and we didn't have any gun permit applications to send on. And for training, August 11th to the 13th, Sergeant Brad Bailey attended a crisis intervention team conference in California. This was sponsored and paid for by Inwell. This event featured workshops covering local, state, national, and international CIT-related topics. The conference provided valuable insight into new and innovative CIT initiatives and served as an excellent opportunity for networking and professional development. On August 14th and 15th, officers participated in a 2-day firearms training. Day 1 focused on annual qualifications and statewide deadly force training. Day 2 emphasized advanced tactical skills, including moving target engagement and decision-making drills that incorporated verbal command scenarios. August 18th through the 22nd, CSI Colleen Brandenberry completed a comprehensive 5-day officer-involved shooting and use of force investigation course. The training included instruction on crime scene security, blood stain and trajectory analysis, suspect and witness interviewing, use of technology at the scene, media relations, post-incident procedures, and courtroom testimony procedures. Then last, August 22nd, LPD officers completed their state-mandated defensive tactics training, reinforcing key physical control techniques and ensuring compliance with the current standards. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief from the board? From the public? Yep. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next will be Chief Batts from the Fire Department.
Good evening, everyone. Since the last Board of Public Works and Safety meeting, Lebanon Fire has responded to 158 emergency calls of service, logged 332 training hours, participated in 2 public education events, completed 26 commercial inspections, fulfilled 9 commercial pre-plans, and installed and inspected 3 car seats. Fire Inspector Mark Brown attended a 6-day course at the National Fire Academy. Fire Inspection Principles 1, focus on fire code applications and safety requirements, and then brought up-to-date methodologies to fire code and different things that we're looking at. Recruits Michael Ellis and Brady Miller have completed all mandatory pre-hire requirements. They start at the Fire Academy September 2nd, next Tuesday. Last week, LFD hosted live fire training at the Boone County Training Tower. The training focused on window conversions, search, and handline advancement. This week, firefighters are completing their UDS cancer screenings. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief from the board? From the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next will be Parks and Recreation. John Messenger.
Good evening. Seashore Water Park is now closed for the season. Had a great summer season, and like to thank all our hardworking staff for finishing the year real strong. We will be draining this week, started today, and our winterization process will start. The splash pad will remain open through Labor Day weekend. Probably close it down Tuesday, September 2nd. The cooler temps look like they're going to stick around, and 40 degree, I don't think anybody wants to be in a splash pad. Lice's Autumn Academy will start 2 weeks from today, so after Labor Day and run through mid-October out at Reese Park. Abner Longley was busy this past Saturday with Lebanon youth football games, quite a few games there. Got to go see them. They're great. Also, the splash pad had a lot of patrons there, and Lebanon Middle School had their conference cross-country meet. They love the facility there, just to let you know. Great move to purchase that property, and got a lot of activity down there, just to say the least. We hosted our annual Daddy-Daughter Dance this past weekend on the pool deck. It was a beautiful evening with a great turnout. Dads and daughters enjoyed games, tattoos, food, Kona Ice, DJ Andy Vaughn, and a picture station with Moana. So for those of you that like that, she's great. Anyway, thanks to Allison and Taylor and all our Seashore Water Park staff for hosting such a great event. On Saturday, August 30th, Brother and Sister Czech Ministry will be hosting their Summer Slam in Memorial Park. This will be their first annual event. There will be a trailer full of resources and a live band for praise and worship, live testimonials, and free food. This will take place from 11 to 4 on Joe Ha Bush Memorial Bandstand in Memorial Park. The Corvette Club is hosting their Corvette Car Show in Memorial Park on September 13. Sitting down with them tomorrow to get all the details on that and find out how many cars we're going to have. Looking forward to that. Lincoln Days is scheduled for the last weekend in September, the 25th through the 28th. And also, Kelsey, I want to thank the Clerk Treasurer Office. I know we put a lot of pressure on you and all the other departments that help us out during the season, but it was a great water park season, and thank you for all your hard work and help with everything. That's all.
Thank you, John. Any questions for John from the board? From the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next will be Engineering Department. Kevin Kulik.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Project updates around the city. Let's start with Grant Street Phase 2. Happy to report that as of late last week, early this morning, all the center point gas line relocation work is now complete. We've also been continuing to coordinate the shared expenses with Lebanon Utilities on the water and sewer portions of the project. So that's moving forward. Expecting a pre-construction meeting sometime the end of September, but that's in NDOT's hands to get that scheduled. Elizaville Road, also happy to report that all work is complete there. The last driveway approach is now complete. It was delayed due to the request of one of our neighbors that live there, and that is now that was poured the week of the 11th and is now fully complete. Everything's been restored and reseeded. Fordyce Street, just still trying to button up a few things there. Later at the council meeting this evening, we will be considering a mid-block crossing at the request of the Lebanon Community School Corporation. But right now, really, we're just working on final concrete punch list repairs. Should be done this week. We'll continue to monitor our contractor and make sure that gets wrapped up here shortly, but we're in the home stretch just putting the final touches on things. 180 Makeover Program project updates. We'll jump into Oaks on Main. Oaks on Main is nearing completion, or at least nearing the city's portion of the completion. The waterproofing of the crawl space is now complete, and the Dilling Group will be installing the last remaining pieces of HVAC equipment in that crawl space sometime this week. And should be wrapping that up here as we go into the month of September and closing out our portions of the project, fully handing everything off to the owners of the project to complete their work sometime in the next 12 months. Collier's Corner, jumping over there, really main thing right now there is they're continuing to work on framing and some structural issues with the building, but our contractors are actively working on electrical rough-ins. Those continue to go on. Right next door at the Lido, a little bit more happening there. We've got Blue Fox, the plumbers, should be getting started this week. Coordinating all this with the general contractor and the owner over there, but they should be moving forward with the plumbing. And electrical rough-in continues there as it does next door at Collier's Corner. So those are 124, 126 South Lebanon Street. If we jump up to 124, 126 North Lebanon Street, the building we affectionately call the Eichmann Exchange. The north elevation of the building, north side of the building, all that tuck pointing is complete, and they're making their way around to the west side, grinding mortar joints on those south and west walls, and they're scheduled to wrap up that tuck pointing work this week. And then we'll put that behind us, and we've still got windows to work on there, and those will be, as soon as the rough-in openings are prepared, we'll continue to work on that project. Park projects, just a couple quick updates on pickleball work. Essentially, at this point, everything is done. We completed the last concrete pour down at Abner Longley Park. Everything has been backfilled and seeded down there, so we're just working with the contractor on final punch list repairs, which should be wrapping up this week with a final walkthrough. The fishing pier, also happy to report that the final backfilling grading and seeding is now complete. That puts the bow on that project as we wait for grass to grow, but all the work is done at this point. Big Four Trailhead over at Sam Ralston. Also happy to report that the concrete work is now complete over there, and that wraps up that project. Not quite the full extent of the project we originally planned for, but we did make the necessary upgrades to make sure the picnic area, the portalet enclosure, and the bike workstation are all now ADA accessible, and we're out of the way now for the utility work that will go through that area in the coming year. Abner Longley Park perimeter path work. TAC comments are just being finalized, and the permitting is ongoing. We're, as usual, or I'm sorry, as we've discussed before, we are planning to bid that this fall for spring construction, and that will include completing drainage improvements and the perimeter path around Abner Longley Park. Thompson Street, some barricades went out last week to keep some of the local traffic from driving through that area as we get ready to have triangle asphalt in there for resurfacing of some of those parking lot areas and asphalt or alley areas. All asphalt work being done, planning to start the week of September 2nd, so right after we get past the holiday. Let's see, fire department projects. On the 12th, we received our IDEM permit approval for the new fire station, and we got an update last week from Core Construction with some updated schedule, and they're working through all the final bidding process on their end and plan to mobilize for construction in late September. DPW projects, Indianapolis Avenue lighting. Work is scheduled to begin this week on the 27th. And that includes the replacement of the rash of light poles that we've had hit. In fact, we had another hit last week, so we're up to 7 light poles that have been knocked down. And I think 4 of them have been this year. I'm not sure why that's happening down there, but we've had a lot of trouble with light pole damage. And then last but certainly not least, the LEAP District projects, County Road 450 North, while we wait for CSX to put the final touches on their generator equipment at that crossing, the yield signs are once again installed. There's also a pretty strong campaign with the folks at Fluor and Lilly, making sure that their employees, their deliveries know that that is still not an active crossing signal at this time. A lot going on at 52 and I-65 with that interchange. Essentially all the foundation and pier work in the median is now complete. They are, as we speak, transferring traffic back to the original traffic pattern. That's supposed to happen today and tomorrow, and hopefully be wrapped up by the end of the day tomorrow. So essentially, you'll be back on the original lanes. There will be concrete barriers along the shoulder on the outside, but you'll be back into the original lanes, and you'll stay that way till the spring of '26, when they'll shift traffic to the inside and work on the outside foundations and piers for those bridges. And that's all I have.
Hey, Kevin, any questions for Kevin? Dick?
Kevin, I've got a couple of things. I think it was last week I was out driving around the pond area, and there's a path that's on the south side, goes around the south side of the pond.
The regional detention pond?
No, the fishing pond. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay,
Around
yes.
the fishing pond.
Yes.
There's a path that goes around the fishing pond there, and it seems like we ought to try to incorporate that somewhere in the trail.
Absolutely.
Tie it
The
into
perimeter-
that other side over there.
Absolutely. The perimeter trail I talked about includes picking up the trail at the entrance to the parking lot that's between the splash pad and the football fields, and taking that around the perimeter of Hendricks Drive. But it also does include paving that gravel path that goes along the south side of the pond.
And make a nice path around.
Yes. So when we're done, we'll have a loop around the pond proper area. We'll have a loop around the entire perimeter of the park, and then obviously the Big Four Trail goes through there. And we're also picking up some drainage improvements and stuff while we're there.
The other issue I wanted to talk to you about was I received a couple of emails from a couple of residents that live in the Sunbrook Addition. They're on Whit Road.
Yeah.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4 intersections. I drove out there and took a look myself. There's-
Obstructed stop signs.
Yes, and we need to change our plan on trees close to intersections and stop signs, because
Yes.
I realize the neighborhood's 20 mile an hour. I realize everybody's supposed to be driving slow, but we all realize that people don't pay attention, and those stop signs are hard to see until you get right on it.
Yep.
And
No, I
that's
heard
not a
about
good
those
thing.
comments as well. It didn't make the list of projects, but it is something we're actively working on. Or I should say, Jason, the team at DPW are looking at that, seeing what they can do to provide more warning, to prune trees, things of that nature. And I think we've had a conversation internally with the planning department about reviewing the landscape plans, especially on corner lots, with a little more detail. Generally, there is an overall landscape plan for the neighborhood that shows the street trees, and generally speaking, when that's originally reviewed, it includes an inspection to make sure that they're meeting the sight distance triangles at the intersections. But sometimes that information doesn't filter its way down to the landscapers installing the material.
That was going to be my next comment too, that we need to review those plans and try to eliminate. But I know there's at least 2, maybe 3 that probably ought to be just removed because they're just too close to the sign.
And that may be what has to happen for right
Yeah.
now. We're looking into that. We'd like to save them. We'd like tree-lined streets in
I
our
like 'em
city,
too,
but we need to be safety
Maybe
conscious
we
as well.
transplant them somewhere in the neighborhood or something. I don't know, but.
Yeah,
they're
we're aware of the issue, we're aware of the complaints, and primarily Planning Department and DPW are looking into how they address that.
I'm a little sensitive to sight distance on stop signs from my past.
Understood.
I've been in those lawsuits, and so I'm pretty sensitive of feeling about trying to see those, so.
No, I assure you,
It's not
we
just
take it
Sunnybrook.
seriously.
We also have the same problem in, what's the one out on Fordyce? I think there's a couple signs out there that might be a problem as well.
Okay, in
Yeah.
Cedar Ridge,
Yeah.
the new one, okay.
So we need to think about it overall in our new subdivisions where these trees are going. And
Absolutely.
So-
Yeah, I think, in generally speaking, they'll be fine once trees grow in, but when you're a 2-inch tree that's only
Yeah.
slightly taller than the stop sign, it's
Yeah.
a problem, and that tree just hasn't grown enough to be pruned for the site distance.
yeah, we have to wait 10 years before it gets high enough over
Yeah,
that.
yeah, so we're
sign,
working
so.
on doing better and
Yeah.
trying to solve that
And I did
problem.
ask some friends that are driving school buses to, hey, if you see some, put a list, give it to me, and
Absolutely.
I'll pass it on to you guys.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Any other questions for Kevin? Okay. Do you have the planning report? Or no?
I do not have a plan
Nope.
report. I've got
Okay.
the other agenda items from the planning department, but not their report, sorry.
All right, very good. Thank you, Kevin. All right, do we have anybody giving the planning report tonight? Ben, I know Ben was at a funeral, so that may have not gotten passed on. All right. Public Works report? Nope, didn't see anybody. Okay. Last but not least, communication and community development. Joe LePage.
Hey everyone, a couple of quick brief updates. The Lebanon Story Booth, today we downloaded the contents from the first round of comments. More than 120 of them. We're pretty impressed for the most part from the response from our community. With the exception of some wannabe comedians, I can tell you that those comments won't be making it to however we present the findings and the comments of the story booth and those stories that were shared with the public. We have its own webpage, its own URL that's available on the city's website. All you have to do is go to the community tab, and it's right there to connect to community, and there's a Lebanon Story Booth there. And so we're going to reload and take all those comments and then put the story booth back in circulation. That's in future events coming up for Halloween and also Christmas, of course. Our latest episode of the Love and Lebanon podcast airs tomorrow with Scott's Garage. We chat with Scott and Wendy Bean, talk about the past, present, and future of what is truly a family affair, 3 generations old. They're getting ready to celebrate a decade in their Coombs Street location, but it goes well beyond that, and so we hear their story there. We go on location at their garage with that episode. A reminder that we are looking for podcast episode ideas, and so you can send those ideas to me at loveandlebanon@lebanon.in.gov. It's a free promotion for your business. It's free to do. We're not asking for anything in return, and as the Beans will tell you, it's pretty painless to do that. It's not a live recording. We go over what we're going to talk about before we talk about it, and we're even willing to go on location like we did with Scott's Garage, so there's that. Also, the communications department is once again teaming up with Lebanon Community School Corporation and their internship program. And so starting tomorrow, Mr. Sam Hornbecker, who has aspirations of being on TV, telling stories through video and through photos, joins us tomorrow. And so we look forward to working with Sam and being able to have him tell his story, grow, and continue on and send those birds out of the nest and see where they fly. And so we look forward to working with Sam and love the relationship we have at the school with that program. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions for Joe from the board? For the public? Okay, thank you, sir. All right, that concludes department head reports. Move on to old business. There's nothing on my agenda. Anything from the board? Okay. New business then. This item A is a surplus request for a vehicle, a 2012 Silverado 3500 from the Parks Department. John?
Yes, sir. I want to thank Mr. Stoner. He helped us replace our barrel truck. We're replacing and like the surplus GMC Chevy 3500 series 2012. And he looked it over and gave us an idea of what to do. And we have a new barrel truck. Thank goodness. It's nice.
I think everybody likes it, don't they?
Oh my gosh, are you serious? It's a cat's meow. There you go.
It only took a year to get it.
Yeah, it's a 2024 that we got, but hey, you know what? That Tommy lift goes up and down, and you don't have to. Yeah, it's just very nice. Nobody will get hurt now, so thank you.
What I like to hear.
Yes.
All right. Any questions on that? The surplus item form has been submitted. So any questions or concerns from the board? Okay, we entertain a motion then to approve the surplus of the 2012 Chevy or GMC 3500.
I make a motion, we approve the surplus of the GMC 3500 2012.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Second from Dick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that is approved. Thank you, John. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
All right, next up is a surety release and acceptance concerning Angeli Gardens, Section 1A and 1B. Kevin?
Thank you very much. Pretty self-explanatory here. I do want to thank our partners at Lebanon Utilities and Department of Public Works and Zach Burge for coordinating these efforts. But essentially tonight we are asking for your permission, or it's our recommendation that you accept the release of the following performance bonds. May I put the list up on the screen so we don't have to read them all to you, but this was in your packet as well. And so it would be our recommendation that we release these performance bonds associated with Section 1A and 1B in Angeli Gardens. And this is all of the performance bonds associated with the project, and then replace those with the appropriate maintenance sureties.
Any questions or concerns on that from the board?
Are we replacing them with maintenance bonds?
We are, yes. So I would just make that subject to administrative review from the engineering department. I don't really think there's any need for legal review. We have the maintenance bond forms that we accept, and we just follow that template.
That would entertain a motion to approve the release and acceptance for those bonds as presented.
I'll make a motion, we approve the release and the acceptance of, release of the bonds and the performance bonds and the acceptance of the maintenance bonds for Angeli Gardens.
All right, motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Bill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that's approved. All right, next up here is the utility easement. Is this Ambler Way or Amber Way?
Ambler.
It is Ambler. Okay, I
Yeah,
want to make sure it
sorry, I
wasn't a
think there
typo.
was a
Yep.
typo. It is AMBLER. You have already taken action, as well as the council has taken action related to the vacation of Ambler Lane. But before we make that official, and so basically it was approved subject to legal review, what we think would be cleaner is if we also go ahead and dedicate an 8-foot utility easement while we still own the property before we record the formal vacation, so the easement is in place once the right-of-way goes away.
This was the road, proposed road that would have connected to from Edgewood.
Yeah,
that would have gone
absolutely.
back. Okay. All
I
right.
can share my screen here. We got, this is really a survey exhibit, but I think you get the gist of it. This is Ambler Lane is just south of Fordyce. Fordyce is just to the upper edge of the screen there. This is Edgewood Drive, the Edgewood neighborhood. This was a stub street that was originally supposed to be stubbing into a future section of Edgewood. That is no longer needed. That area was replatted and repurposed as Cedar Ridge, and there will not be a through street at that location. So again, actions have already been taken on that vacation. We just want to take a step back and go ahead and dedicate this easement subject to administrative review and legal review, authorizing the mayor to execute any documents that are needed, and do that before we actually record the vacation.
And just to clarify too, there actually is no road there. It's a grass strip between two houses that was proposed but platted. Well, but this is considered the easement at the back of it. But if that's why if Ambler Lane sounds unfamiliar, it's because Ambler Lane was never actually ever built. Right. So, okay. Any questions or concerns on that dedication of the easement? Okay, entertain a motion to approve as presented.
I'll make a motion that we approve the requested 8-foot utility easement proposal as presented.
Motion, is there a second? Second. Second from Dick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that is approved. Thank you, board. Probably easier to do that when it's one parcel versus later when it's two.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes.
So, okay, next item up here are policy updates from the Lebanon Police Department. Major Hood.
Good evening. The first update I would like to request approval for is a result of a change in Indiana code. We've taken our Brady process and it's now a Brady-Giglio process. Effective July 1st, 2025, the new amended law required law enforcement to provide prosecutors information relating to witnesses under Giglio. Giglio is an extension of Brady versus Maryland. Brady covered evidence that the prosecution must release to the defense if it's favorable towards the defense. Giglio refers to witness information favorable to the defense must be released to them. So you see the statute reference in here, and those changes where Brady was referenced is now Brady-Giglio.
Any questions or concerns on that from the board? Okay, next policy.
Next up, in civil disputes, this is another change to the Indiana Code effective July 1st. A new law was added that requires officers to remove squatters from private property when certain legal requirements are met. And in the policy, it gives you an Indiana Code citation for that action.
Questions or concerns on that? Okay.
Custodial searches. What you'll see here is there's a section in here called field transportation that's been deleted in its entirety. It's just been relocated to the transporting persons in custody policy we saw a few weeks ago. That was the only update for that particular policy.
Okay.
The medical aid and response policy here. Okay. What we've done is in this transporting ill and injured persons, some of this content is moved to the transporting persons in custody policy we talked about a couple weeks ago, and there was some language updates that made it more clear as to what reference the new policy was. Under sick and injured arrestee, some content was moved to the transporting persons in custody policy, or that custody in check. Transporting persons in custody policy. Say that 10 times quick. Okay. And then was changed to arrestee on there. One section that is new content is the hospital security and control. We added a subsection under the sick or injured arrestee to address procedures for officers to follow at medical facilities. Finally, we had a notation in here, an update on the Narcan or the opioid overdose medication. We added, whenever we administer that particular medication, contact dispatch as soon as possible to request a response by EMS. That medication can wear off and then the symptoms of the opioid overdose can come back, so without medical treatment, it could prove to be more damaging. So that was it for that particular.
Any question on that policy from the board? Okay.
Special assignments and promotions. This is just going to look a little bit funky on here. What you see lined out in red won't actually be crossed out in our policy. Sometimes when it gives an update, it reverts back to what the original policy was, strikes that language. So we are keeping the language in red that you see. These are specific positions to LPD that will continue to be those kind of positions that are special assignments appointed by the chief. All this does is it adds the two at the end, the terminal agency coordinator, local agency security officer. These revert back to the criminal justice information systems policy that we updated a few weeks ago. These were a couple of those specified duties in there that the chief may choose to appoint or assign somebody to those positions. Just adds those to the list. So that's really the only
And just because
change.
we have them in the list doesn't necessarily mean we have the position.
Correct, yeah. Sometimes you put those in there for future growth or development on there, so they're already kind of benchmarked.
I don't think we have a dive team, so. Any questions on that from the board? Okay.
And finally, the vehicle pursuits policy on here. We just saw a revision in March. There's going to be an element that we're going to keep of that particular visit on here. But basically, this new policy has been rolled out by Lexipol, and they tell us it is more comprehensive and based on best practices from across the nations. Relative content from that previous policy has been relocated into this particular policy, but we're not going to see all the crossed out sections and blue additional text that you may be used to seeing. What they are recommending is we totally erase the old policy, replace it with this new policy, and then build on it from there. Highlights that we'll see from this new particular policy on there is it provides more specific guidance on initiating a pursuit. The policy outlines who's authorized to initiate the vehicle pursuit and under what circumstances they are authorized to do so. It defines what the pursuit units are, provides guidelines on how many vehicles are authorized to be involved in a pursuit. See, we kept this. This is that language that we approved in March. We're based on feedback from our supervisors. Originally, it said it should be limited to 3 vehicles, and then later on, it kind of tells you, well, this can kind of be situation dependent. We wanted to put the situation dependent more up front, on there, and strike. Our supervisors sometimes had a hard time saying, we've got 3 vehicles, even though we're chasing a tank armed with a platoon full of machine gunners, on that. 3 people's not enough in that particular circumstance. So we want that flexibility to adapt to it. Primary unit, the new policy outlines the responsibilities for the initial pursuing officer. Secondary unit, it outlines the responsibilities for the second officer involved in the pursuit. Air units, it discusses air unit availability. Not that you have one here, but if you have a helicopter, for example, it will take you, the helicopter pilot will take charge of calling the pursuit location into dispatch. Pursuit driving, it provides factors to be considered for specific driving tactics. Let's see. I'll get back up here under the top definitions. It may be a little easier to find. Some of those techniques you see, boxing in, for example, on their pit maneuver, are better defined in that particular section. And reporting requirements. Finally, it provides direction for the completion of the reports, what happens with that information. So it's a lot of information in there. We have emergency vehicle operations training at Plainfield on Wednesday. Our instructors were involved in reviewing and making some adjustments, recommendations on this policy. We'll begin teaching any new components to that on Wednesday.
Any questions?
Providing approval.
Yeah. Any questions or concerns? Okay. So any overall questions or concerns on the policies proposed? Okay, we'll entertain a motion then to approve the policy updates as presented.
I make that motion.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Bill. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, that is approved. All right, thank you, Major Hood.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes what I have for new business. Anything from the board? Okay, we'll move on to claims. So entertain a motion concerning the claims.
Make a motion, we approve the claims.
Motion to approve the claims from Bill. Is there a second? Second from Judge. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Any announcements or discussion? Okay. This time, then, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn from Dick. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alan. Alan wants to go home. All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Our next Board of Works meeting will be September 8th at 5:30 p.m. We are adjourned, and City Council is up next.